Welcome back to In Your City Show. Still talking about style today, and now we're taking it to the outside is what we're going to do, because today we have the owner and the woman who does it all from Passiglia Nursery. I want to say the whole time because it's a long one. So Passiglia Landscape, Nursery and Garden Center, which means they do it all. Chris Passiglia, who is the owner of Passiglia, that would make sense, wouldn't it? And then Julie Straatmann, who wears many hats.
A few different ones, yes.
Yes, we know all about those hats and how they work. So, you know, gosh, when it comes to landscaping, it used to be that time, and some people still may have, you know, very simple, but, you know, you had those Christmas bushes, as I call them, out front, and a tree, and, you know, maybe you had those crazy landscape timber things that you'd put in the yard and they'd stare still. Oh my gosh.
Yes,
you know, and it's
been some time ago.
Yeah, and it's changed so much now. I mean, everything from edible gardens to landscaping, people have their kitchens and their living rooms outside now.
Yes.
It's just a whole different world. And I love being outside. So it means so much to have that landscaping and that, which we did AstroTurf.
We did the AstroTurf yard. We had dogs, and the dogs were always just bringing mud in
They
the
brought
house.
the outside in. And I was going to have to move, or the dogs were going to have to.
So then you took the inside out with the AstroTurf.
Yes,
There you go.
exactly.
So,
and it has been so wonderful. But around it still, you know, we love the landscaping. And I wouldn't say I'm very knowledgeable, so I'm always so impressed when I talk to somebody. And I was telling Gordon, one of the words that I really loved in kind of a definition of what you do is, and trying to find it right now when I went way ahead of it, but it was beauty and function. Yeah.
So there's a reason why it's there.
Yeah. And that means so much, because we got landscaping done one time, and to me, I think, and it wasn't your company, it will be the next time, put this landscaping in, and at that time, we lived with woods all around us.
Right.
Was it 1 day, 3 days? How long for our landscaping was eaten by the deer?
Too. So it seemed like everything that we put down, the deer loved.
Just
Talk about beauty and function. I mean,
it was functional for the deer.
That's right. Food.
And I'm sure that's something you would look at when you're looking at a home, on what the sun, where it's at, what they're wanting to do in the yard, everything, I guess, right?
Yeah. Well, and a lot of people have smaller properties now, and they utilize the whole property.
Yeah.
So they want the inside, outside.
I love that.
And everything they do outside, they want to be secure in that feeling. So it's all their little piece of heaven, all wrapped up into one landscape.
That is so true, piece of heaven. It truly is.
Yeah, it really is.
So what is some of your favorite, I know you really get involved, and I find it just fascinating that 1950s, you were down on Produce Road, and you even had some produce, and then took it to, what do you have, 10 acres now?
Just under 10 acres, yes.
10 acres, and really got into the landscaping aspect of it.
Yes, yeah, my dad and uncle started back in my grandpa started back in 1950.
You would have been a little young, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I got you,
right. And then, so my dad and uncle started down on Broadway next to Mall's Barbecue Sauce, actually, where Produce Row was. And, you know, it was a small lot, and they had a place for everything, you know, and just did a really nice job, and small outfit, but kept it small. And then, you know,
produce and flowers.
Yeah, produce and flowers and Christmas trees, and so just a lot of history there. Yeah. I was actually back that way about a few weeks ago. It's a little different now down that area, but so where we're at now in Wildwood, we have all the space
it's
we
so
need.
impressive too. You drive by.
Yeah.
I remember just driving by all the time, going, I've got to talk to them. Well, it's not. It's just gorgeous. It's beautiful, and it's like, you know, it's so impressive to drive by and just see all the stuff that you have outside. Yeah. Like the palms. You know, I love palm trees.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Well, we've moved them. They're not up at the front anymore.
Well, it's the season's changing.
We're going into fall. We're back to produce.
Right.
Pumpkins.
Right.
Yeah.
Get ready for that. Yeah.
But you got into the whole landscape.
We did. So then,
of it,
so my dad and uncle then
flowers.
moved out to Ellisville, and had a nursery and garden center there, and still there, and operated by Mike from Timberwinds there, and does a great job there. And then we moved out to where we are now and started our landscaping company as well. So,
what are some of the projects that when you say landscaping, what does that mean? What kind of projects can we expect, or could we call you about?
Just about anything. It's a front yard renovation or a patio, pergola in the back.
Kitchen?
Kitchen as well, sure, yeah. And we do a lot of design
I
stuff.
want to cook outside too.
Yeah, so we design pools as well, and
Really?
do
Even
everything. A lot of
pools?
things in 3D if you need it.
Did you know that, pools?
No.
Yeah, so we don't do it. We don't install them, but we design them.
You're part of the design,
We're part
and
of
then
the
bring
design
the team in
process.
to be able to do everything.
And the walls and the water features.
Sure.
Whether it's pond or fountain or pondless fountains, things like that. I mean, it's an endless array of what you can do in landscape. Yeah, so it just needs, just needs
What is the most
imagination.
innovative thing that's happened in the last 5 years with landscaping?
The different types of pavers.
I'd say that's probably one of them. Whereas
traditional concrete.
Right. So just larger slab, contemporary type, feel. With the pavers, of course, outdoor rooms and pergolas, and and that's really it's been around for a long time, but it's really excelled, especially through as COVID hit. Everybody was wanting to be outside, and and
it's really important.
We can't travel. Let's travel to our backyard.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm sure a lot of construction companies and landscapers are all saying the same thing. Last 3 or 4 years have been just crazy.
Yeah, we're all enjoying wanting to enjoy our home more, and even now, I mean, we're still wanting to be able to stay home and enjoy that. But it really is important to have someone that is a professional, knows what they're doing, because you just stick landscaping in your house and you can end up flooding your house by doing it the wrong level or digging incorrectly. I mean, there's really a lot more than just saying I want to make it pretty. I mean, you have to do things right, or you can end up with having problems later.
Right. Yeah, it's all taking irrigation into play. Taking drainage into play, terrain. So there's a lot to look at when you're looking at a project. But
you have events too. You can get landscaping and you can come in and buy things, but you have got more than just going in and buying a tree or something.
Well, in the last few years, since Chris has kind of taken over the whole business there, we've turned more to a teaching garden center and nursery. So we do a lot of the classes and podcast. So, where you can find out and ask questions about anything to do with your plants or your landscape or anything else that you want to talk about. So we do that, and then we hold the workshops.
Talk about my marriage. There are a couple of things he said. What plant's going to help that one?
The marigolds in your yard, So
maybe build me an outdoor shed that I can live in.
I need a he shed.
There's a different hourly rate for that. So,
TV.
We have to get into
the TV.
What are some of the biggest questions that you get? Like, what it seems to be something that everybody just seems to want to know.
How much do I water this?
No kidding.
That is probably the number one question. And it is impossible to tell somebody how much to water a single plant.
So there isn't an answer.
There really isn't. It's you got to get your fingers in the soil. You got to find out what's going on and watch the plant. Those first 2 to 4 weeks that you have it in your landscape, that's the most critical time.
Right.
Because things can go wrong very quickly then.
Yes.
So those first 2 to 4 weeks is you have to study how your soil drains and watch the plant to have the plant tell you how much water it needs and how often. I can give you guidelines, but you have to watch because it's not going to drink the same amount of water here in a pot above ground as it will in your landscape in the soil with the mulch on it. And the winds hitting in different ways.
Emphasize, those first 3 weeks. They're just really crucial.
And our soil is not the greatest, is it, for growing?
Missouri clay soil, really?
We amend our beds. So when we come in and do landscape, we amend the beds and bring in a nice topsoil mix and
cover up that clay.
Work it in with the clay, so because the plants have to grow in Missouri clay because they're here. So you have to have some of that within your mix. And that's hard for people to understand too, because they want the best soil and everything for everything. So they bring in a lot of soil and plant right on top of it, and then the plant doesn't survive. You know, it maybe survives the first winter, but then the second winter it doesn't, because it hasn't gotten through and rooted into its native soil.
What do we love? We love those magnolia trees.
Magnolia trees.
I find that fascinating that those leaves just stay like that all the time. They look fake. They're just
they live all year long, right?
Sure.
Yeah, they're evergreen. Yeah.
Do they keep the leaves all year long?
No, they actually shed. They shed 3 times a year. But you just aren't noticing it because they're also putting on leaves at the same time they're shedding.
Our friends, it lines their driveway. They're in Wildwood, and we're just
Creek Road,
oh my gosh, just so beautiful. And when they're blooming,
it's gorgeous.
I'm like, I want those trees, and that they stay like that, you know, year round. They're just gorgeous. So, what's an experience like coming into Passiglia? Someone hasn't been there before. What do you offer as an experience? What do you think people get when they come in?
Yeah, the first thing we see when they come in, and we know they haven't been there before, you can see it on their face right away, because they come in and they go,
That's what we did.
So there we go. Can we help you? Yeah. So it's, you know, first letting them kind of get comfortable about where they are, because there's so much to see. I mean, there's 10 acres to walk around there, and every corner of it is pretty much has a plant in it. So
as it should.
yeah. So first of all, kind of getting them comfortable with where they are, who they're talking to, and find out what they're looking for.
Yeah.
So
this is the biggest mum I've ever sat next to. So I would imagine you have several of those.
Well, this is our 14-inch mum.
Beautiful.
But we actually have them even bigger than this. We call them the monster mums.
You know, I've never had a mum aren't they supposed to come back?
You do.
I've never had one that's come back.
Okay, you want me to tell you a reason why?
Please. I've given up. I'm like, geez, I can't get one to come. And they look really bad when they go and they never come back.
Yeah. When you buy them too early, a lot of the mums are forced. So all that energy is forced to end those blooms. So
kind of like a marriage can happen, right? Too soon. It's
we keep talking about marriage. I'm a little worried.
You missed the first segment, but go ahead.
Something's up.
So don't force it.
So, you know, letting it do more of its own timing. So that means September is when the mums really start coming out. You start putting mums in August, they're being forced to put that display out. So too early is they're using up all their energy, all their food. They can't root in, so you lose them. You treat them like annuals.
All right.
So then when you start planting them a little later, say September, early October, and you're planting them like this, planting them in the ground is going to make them hardier than leaving them in a pot and then planting them when you're done with it, because they need to root before the ground cools off.
Perfect. Now
So,
I'm going to see if I can get one to last this time after my education.
Don't cut it down for the fall or the winter. Leave it up, because all these stems, even though it looks, I know.
I would just rip it out, come back.
And do it.
Well, that's because you're the owner of Passiglia, Chris.
But
you've got
leaving
more.
the stems protects the crown. The stems act as straws.
Okay.
So they, you know, and if you cut them, that straw stays open and it freezes and thaws the crown, which then kills your crown out.
So before we end our interview, we were talking about the experience, and once they got through when they walked in and they would learn about, you know, your place and offer. Can you give me exactly let people know what you have to offer in that experience? I know we talked about education and being able to teach people. Let us know what you have before we go.
I think the one thing I see with a lot of customers, they come in, they want direction, you know, and there is so much, like Julie had mentioned, you know, to have an idea. If you're a do-it-yourselfer, you get to understand if you're a do-it-yourselfer or if you want to have a professional come out, assess the property, look at all the do's and don'ts, you know, that you should or shouldn't do, and just, you know, just have advice, you know, on your property. That's what I see, you know, trying to differentiate who that customer is, and we can help them both in either situation. So if you're a do-it-yourselfer, you know, to bring in, you know, a copy of maybe some pictures of your house, maybe not so much on your phone. It's a little tough when you're outside to look at pictures of your house on a phone. So if you had a simple sketch, some pictures of the house, somebody at the garden center can work with you and, kind of give you some advice and give you good direction. If you want to have it installed, then, it's a good idea to have a professional come out and assess your property and work on a design.
And no budget is too small or too big to work with.
No, it's not. It's just, we're here to help. And,
the one thing that you have to understand is that, it's a very labor-intensive, business. So
just pulling weeds is a killer.
Labor is not cheap.
And hard to find these days. My goodness, all
very
right.
hard to find.
And you have an event coming up soon too.
We do. So this Saturday is our second annual Fall Festival. So we started it last year. This year, we already have twice as many vendors.
Oh gosh.
Twice as many ponies. Everything has built up very well. And our kids' corner is, awesome. The games, pumpkin bowling.
Yeah.
Pumpkin bowling,
pumpkin ring toss.
Oh yeah. That sounds like a good one.
We have
and the pony rides.
Yeah, and the pony rides. So
there you go.
And all this is free for the kids, and then the kids can win prizes with the games that we have in there, and then we've got all kinds of specials at the nursery for the older kids, so
that'd be us.
And, new plants arriving.
Yes, and it's we just got 3 loads of plants in this week, so it's
time to plant.
Yes.
Which is your season you love most?
Well, I like the. Well, spring is crazy, because you go through March. March is probably every nursery and landscaper's, worst month, because you're prepping for the spring and you have, orders coming in and you have weather conflicts that,
But you really want spring so bad because you just came off that dreary winter.
Yeah.
So spring is a good one, but for me personally, I think June. June is my favorite because June and July is the only time I have time to work in my own garden. so
that's your favorite there. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us. We really appreciate it. Chris Passiglia and Julie Straatmann from Passiglia Landscape Nursery and Garden Center, located off of, was that 109?
Correct.
Okay.
109 and Clayton Road.
And that's Clayton Road. So what is that city considered?
That's Wildwood.
Wildwood, coming from the city of Wildwood. There you go. Well, thank you so much for being on In Your City show, and we can't wait to come over to the event on Saturday, as well as at your Fall Festival.
Fall Festival.
Fall Festival. Okay.
Live music.
Oh, even better. Maybe you can get up and sing, Gordon.
And it's Chris's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah.
Should be fun.
Yes, it'll be a great time. All right, we're coming up next. Gosh, we're going to talk shoes. It's all about style today.
It makes me happy too, but they don't have a men's collection.
Actually, he has more shoes than I do, so don't kid yourself. We'll be back with more fun.